To go talk about a News 5 investigation because the vacant homes and rundown neighborhoods, they're just all too common here in Northeast Ohio. But a Supreme Court decision this week gave hope to cities nationwide hit hard by the housing crisis. Cleveland, however, may not be able to take advantage of that legal victory. News 5's Kristen Volk explains how a clever legal move by the city 9 years ago actually may have backfired today.
9 years ago, Cleveland was ahead of the country when it sued big banks, tying our blight problems to predatory lenders. Cleveland lost that lawsuit and now has little chance to bring a similar one, despite a Supreme Court ruling this week. And when it comes down to it, it's local residents like Mary Cardwell who suffer.
I was looking to leave something for them.
When Mary Cardwell bought her 6-bedroom home in this East Side Cleveland neighborhood, she was confident she would leave it to her 7 children and their children when she passed, mortgage-free.
It'll continue to be just air property where whoever need a home, they have a home.
But her plan went horribly wrong.
They're just heartless.
She unknowingly got into a predatory loan when she bought her home nearly 2 decades ago. Her monthly payments started to jump. Then it got worse. She had to quit her job to care for her sick mother and fell behind in her mortgage. Cardwell tells me she tried to reach out to her loan servicer called Ocwen time and time again.
When I tried to get the help to do it, I couldn't get the help.
But she couldn't get through. Twice, she says sheriff deputies showed up, saying her house was about to go up for auction. Cardwell's story, far from unique. So Cleveland sued the big banks back in 2008, but lost because the city could not tie the loss of tax revenue to the claims they were making. Other cities tried as well. And this week, Miami, Florida won its case after the Supreme Court took it up.
Essentially, the Supreme Court says there is a too far that you profiteering bankers can go to take advantage of poor minority communities.
Mark Dan was Ohio's Attorney General from 2006 to 2008 during the height of the housing crisis. He's also Cardwell's attorney. He explained that Cleveland is in a tough spot with the Supreme Court decision because legally it can't bring the same case again.
That doesn't mean they get a chance to get a do-over.
Since Cleveland already sued the big banks and lost, it can't sue the same banks again. And that's a potentially significant financial loss to the city and ultimately a loss for Cardwell, because if Cleveland had won...
Well, what you might see is help in getting some of the abandoned properties in her neighborhood demolished, which look, there's a direct relationship between the number of abandoned properties in a neighborhood that are undemolished and the property values. So that might help the property values come up. There might be money for some infrastructure improvements to her neighborhood.
Instead, her neighborhood continues to look like this. Her home has little hope of any appreciation, and the mortgage bills just keep coming. She now has to pay off $100,000 on a home that she bought for just under $50,000.
When you get in trouble with it, it's so hard to get anybody to help you.
Cleveland does have the right to sue banks it did not sue the first time around, but many of them closed up shop when the predatory lending problems started to surface. In Cleveland, I'm Kristen Volk, News 5.